Greetings to all my friends. Today we will be taking the first module of basics of KP astrology. In that we will be discussing the different types of the astrology and what are the branches of astrology and what is astrology. So astrology is a science, and it in its wider means, it is the science of stars and planets and their application on human lives. The planets in the space, they move at the terrific speed, and their motion creates a magnetic field in proportion with the Earth's motion. And with that result, the triggering of the events happen. Almost all of us are more interested that how do these events occur? These events occur due to the foreplay of the planets, and these planets, due to the continuous motion, create different type of events that is taking place on the Earth's motion, and the birth time of the human is also an event. When we talk about the event and the planetary structure, it is very clear that once we study the transits, we will come to the conclusion that the planetary structure of the movement of the birth and its motion of the planets continues till the end of the human life. Therefore, worldwide, humans were always interested to know about the astrology as such. When we talk about the astrology, the present day astrology has become very, very advanced. And there are different fundamental rules of astrology which have been propounded by Indian saints as well as the counterparts in Western countries. And they have been handed over to us, no doubt. But the need is that we should develop it further through constant research, well analyzed, modified, and applied in our predictions, which should subsequently reveal the truth. Just copying the ancient texts expressed by heart will not throw any light on what is in store for us. So we need to continuously do research and try to understand how the astrology as such is taking shape in our life. And as such, astrology falls in the category of the science. So we need to always do research and try to find out how the events are going to happen. Once we talk about the origin of astrology, it began with the creation itself. According to sage Gargi, astrological science was propounded by Creator himself, and Lord Brahma handed over it to the creation. If we go further, we will find that our rishis discovered the universal science of creative intelligence, which they called Jyotish. But it is not only in India this science developed. Western countries also did a lot of effort. There is certain belief that Seth 3769 BC was the world's first astrologer. Astrology as a science was also being practiced in Arabia, Egypt, Persia, and central part of Asia. Many books were also written in astrology in Persian, Egyptian, and Arabian languages. Some of us must have heard the name of Al-Biruni, who came to India. He also did a lot of research in astrology, and if suppose some of us are interested, they may go through the books written by Al-Biruni. The Greeks were also very eager to follow astrology. One of the Greek horoscopes written about 2000 years ago is also kept in the British Museum. If we talk about the Egyptians in a very specific manner, they also played a very important role. As seen from the movements, the inscriptions and the modern investigations, we will find that this science dates back to 5000 BC. The pharaohs, which I hope that everybody must have heard about them, they gave much value and respect to their divine signs and also to the astrologers. I've already told about the Indian sages and their contribution. And slowly, the Vedic astrology started developing. And later on in India, it was termed as Jyotish. However, as I already told you, that there is a need for constant research, which needs to be carried out with the different methods of the astrology. Over the years, there have been a lot of methods which have been taken place. Some of the branches of astrology are natal astrology, horary astrology, electional astrology, medical astrology, lot of things. Kabbalah astrology, Kerala astrology, Nadi astrology, omens which are there, and judicial astrology. So if we see the natal astrology, this is one of the most common type of the astrology, which is concerned with the human life. We create a chart at the time of the birth for a particular place of the birth where we take the coordinates, the latitude and longitude. And from this chart, we try to read the events about the natives. It may be related with his character, temperament, longevity, finance, profession, health, etc. Later on in this course, we will try to learn all those things. So this branch is very useful for one and all, whether he's a minister, whether he's a beggar, whether he is a normal person. And there are various methods by which we can predict the natal chart. In that, there is a sub-branch called transit, or in Indian language, it is called the gochar. And the literature available for this sub-branch is also not very much complete. And therefore, we are making a constant effort in this direction. And in that process, we have developed the software, the AstroTransit software, which talks about that. So the Western and the Hindu system of prediction based on the transit of the planets, they fall in many cases, whether referred either to the sun or to the moon alone. Some take moon transit, some take the sun transit, depending upon the type of the astrology. Horary astrology, again, it's a very accurate, perfect, and most useful method of the astrology. And this method is more useful in the sense that if suppose somebody does not know his date of birth, or exact time of the birth, he can get the accurate prediction by the horary chart, that is also called the time chart. One can deliver the correct, clear, and precise prediction without any confusion, right? In Vedic astrology, we take the time chart. In KP astrology, we take the numbers from 1 to 249 by which we do the horary astrology. Later on, we will try to cover that particular thing. Third one is the electional astrology. It means that we try to find out the Muhurat of any type of the event in the one's life. So that means we find the most auspicious time for starting any new undertaking like marriage, starting a business construction, purchase of the property, time of getting admitted in the hospital, school admission, colleges, etc. This can be very, very useful. In case of Kerala astrology, the prediction is offered by looking at the person's face or asking him to mention the name of the flower and having its basis for prediction. Medical astrology is again a very growing subject, very vast researched subject, where one consults a particular astrologer to diagnose a particular disease, the method of healing, the time of the onset of the ailment, the duration of the disease, and the psychiatric aspects that may influence the progress and the prognosis of the disease. There are many diseases which remain undeciphered by the doctors, and here the medical astrology do play a very important part. If we talk about the Nadi astrology, here the lives of many persons born and yet to be born are found written surprisingly by the ancient rishis of the India. Very, very good and interesting method of the astrology. Thousands of years ago, our ancient rishis wrote about the time of the birth, the place of the birth, the event in his life, the profession, the parent's name, marriage, foreign trip of the person. You can even know the names of your parents with this method of astrology. So our seers actually wrote all those things due to their intuitive power and scientific knowledge. Judicial astrology. It's a branch of astrological science which gives knowledge to forecast important events which a country will pass through. That is, sometimes it is war, earthquakes, financial crisis, population growth, fire, accident. In nutshell, it means that we predict on the basis of signs. So every sign would indicate many countries, states, and towns. Of course, a lot of research is yet to be done. Therefore, this branch is still incomplete and it is in a preliminary stage, needs to be developed to a very great extent to offer outstanding predictions. We have Omen also as the branch of the astrology. So omens are also a very good indicator of the predictions. So they may agree with the results obtained by either of the Horary or Kerala branch of astrology. They are very clear and correct indicators which may indicate a good guidance to the astrologers. Again, a lot of research is needed here. It's a vast subject and you need a very, very good skill to predict. You can refer, if suppose more interested in this, you can refer the Varahamira in the Brihat Samhita who has talked about such type of astrology. Another very good method of astrology is the Kabbalah astrology, which actually means that you deal with the numbers, okay? And this is actually the branch of numerology, where we try to predict on the basis of certain numbers. Certain numbers have been allotted for different zodiacs. Certain numbers have been allotted for the different letters of the alphabets. And by adding them, you can predict different events in the life of an individual. Sometimes the people come for changing of the name, changing of the shop, changing the name of their properties. So all this can be advised by the Kabbalah astrology. Slowly, we will take up many other things related with the astrology, and then we will shift towards KP astrology and the different, understanding the different events, understanding the different intricacies of the KP astrology. Thank you very much.